Okay, guys, thank you for watching. And right now, I'm talking about I am in the middle of trying to learn about the Torah. It's been a while. I know as a Christian, I should have been reading Torah, but all this time until now, I rely on the priest and the interpretation of the church leader for the Torah because it is a heavy instance, and at the time it's going to be there are a lot of things that I wouldn't understand and I would probably interpret it wrong. But I think it's like now it's the time that I get into it, so I would understand about my God more, and I would like really understand because Christianity is indeed started off with the Israelites, where they with Abraham and uh, how he's promised the land of Canaan, and then pass moving forward some hundreds of years or thousand, we got the Israelites occupying or owning the land of Canaan, and there is the laws of property, there is the laws of marriage, there is the laws of war, and guys, it's pretty heavy. Like the way they treat women there is pretty cruel in my opinion, but maybe I don't understand the whole picture. I read to the part where it says like when you got women and children, right? After defeating a city or a town, if you see a woman that is beautiful, you can take her. I don't see there's a consent there, whether it's there is you should ask for her whether she wanted to do it or not. I don't see it there, so I would assume, like, given the time, that they would do so on and so on, that they would take her. And then the law says it's not really that cruel, right? But it's still cruel. Like you would take the woman, and the woman wait for a month to mourn, give it a chance, and she would stay at your house. I i think she would eat there, and she would have her basic needs there, and she would get accustomed to your family and stuff. And then after that, you can consummate with her. And I don't know again whether the woman would have anything to say with that. But after a month, you will consummate with her, and after that, you can still decide whether you would take her as your wife or not. And if you don't want to take her as your wife, you cannot sell her into slavery. You send her out to be a free woman because you have humbled her. That's what it says in Deuteronomy. I know that, and I don't think I do remember there are some interpretation by the priest that says women would still have something to say in it, right? That it is the decision of both parties to go, that the women would have, it is also within the decision for the of the woman that she would leave because she didn't like it. I don't know. I just think that the time was very cruel. And why do I keep on saying of the time? Because after reading all that, after reading it, after reading that, I am becoming more assured that that the way you would interpret the law is would be to understand the improvement. That's what I think. For example, um, I kept on reading, and in there is the law of marriage. You can divorce your wife, and then after that, if the wife got married again and the husband passed away or divorced her, you cannot take your ex-wife. You cannot take her anymore because that would be kind of unclean. So what's the concept of uncleanness? It's a concept of how the it's concept of property, right? When you had sex, you share property with your partner about regarding his body and her body, right? uh, I don't know. My empathy is all over the place right now. And it is like it is sex, it is a problem. And you gotta be very very strict on this thing in terms of Christianity, right? You don't just have sex with anybody. It would be a defilement. And and the way Jesus explained this thing is that these laws were given because of the time of the past where people were very stubborn, and it would be an improvement for them to get married compared to the culture of the past. And I'm like adding my own information and my own interpretation to this, because Jesus said the purpose of marriage is that you just don't divorce your wife. And I'm not saying this to refer to a celebrity or something like that. It's just relevant to the topic. Okay, just focus on the topic. You just don't divorce your wife. You came into marriage with the anticipation of not divorcing your wife. Until death do you part, right? And that would be like, my interpretation of that also would be saying like, the culture of the time, there are a lot of cultures around them that just have sex with everyone, and that would spread diseases, and that would spread immorality, and people would not be disciplined, and people would like the strong ones going to oppress the weak because of like, the ownership of sex, and the women would use the man like this, use the man like that, would incite animosity, would incite all of these things that came with it. It's better for people to get married and have like, even if you allow for the force, it would be still an improvement. And that is my point. When you learn about the law, you got to understand where the law improves things. Like for example, leprosy, right? When you There are laws about leprosy in Deuteronomy and Leviticus. I'll get back to the the women as being forced to marry and stuff. But in terms of leprosy, there are laws regarding that. But now, if you implement that law, given your access to modern technology and the hospitals and everything, would it be lawful? I don't think it would be lawful for you to perform all of these things that were prescribed in Deuteronomy and Leviticus for leprosy, if you can just go to the hospital and stuff, right? If you can just send the person to the hospital, and he would be clean. I don't understand. Maybe that's already included. Maybe some people would interpret that as already included in the law. But my point is, when you read the law, when you read the points of the law, you get the law in terms of the improvement that it makes. It is not about the what is written word per word, but what the improvement that it makes. I'm not talking about a country's law, right? I'm talking about the Bible here. So when it comes to captives of war, I think that was the improvement at the time. And I think, wow, how bad was the time? How bad was it that the law like that says women can be taken captive and can be taken as a wife, and she would probably don't have a lot to say about that. And actually, it is a woman that was taken like that probably had an improvement, or probably was at a better place than the other women. Imagine that. That is so bad. That the time was of that the fact that the law gave a blessing to the land, that it is an improvement to the situation of the land, that will make things cleaner. How dirty was the land? How dirty was the time? That it was an improvement to do something like that. And I think, um, yeah, I think that's it. That's what I wanted to say. I That's a point that is very heavy right now, and I just want to share it with you, because probably you have a perspective that could really lighten things up, probably. Or maybe my perspective could help you figure something even more truthful. figure out some more truth about the Bible and about reality. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.